This video is something called compound interest, and you may have heard the phrase the magic of compound interest. And it's called magic because, as we'll see, a little bit of money, if invested over a long period of time, can turn into a big pile of cash. Let's first look at how $100 can easily turn into $265. And all we have to do is imagine an example where we invest that $100, we put it in the bank or we put it in some kind of investment and leave it there at 5% interest rate for 20 years. Let's imagine what happens on a year-by-year basis. So we're going to have a column here, year, and column 1, year 2, year 3. And in the first year, $100 goes into the bank. It earns, at the end of the year, you get your $100 back, plus you get your interest back of 5%, and you have $105. And then in year 2, that money stays in the bank. So now that $105 stays in the bank, and it's also going to stay there and earn 5% interest, which after the second year you'll have $110. And in year 3 we take the $110 and it stays in the bank and it's earning 5% interest. So this money, you're never touching it. It's staying in the bank and it keeps accumulating more and more interest every year. And you're not just earning interest off that same $100 every year. Every year you're earning interest off a larger amount of money. Now notice the way this equation is working is that we start off with $100. The first year, that amount is multiplied by 1.05. Then that amount is multiplied by 1.05. Then that amount is multiplied by 1.05. And after 3 years, what we have is 100 times 1.05 raised to the 3. That's just how the way algebra works. Now remember, we are investing this money over 20 years. So the future value of that $100 can be written like this. We have the initial $100. It's earning 5% interest. And it's not staying there 3 years, but 20 years. And in the end, that equals 265.33. Once again, let me briefly review here what we've seen. What we've found is that if we start off with some present value amount of money, like $100, and we want to know how much it will earn at some interest rate R over T time periods, we just use this equation and it gives us a very quick answer. For a quick review, let's suppose you invest $10,000 at 7% interest for 10 years. To calculate how much we'll have, the future value at that time period, we use the formula present value times 1 plus the interest rate raised to the number of years. And here, the number is 10,000 times 1 plus R is 1.07 raised to T is 10. And the answer we get is $19,671.51. Now this is going to be a slightly different question. Instead of asking how much money we'll have after a number of years, we'll ask how much money we need now. This question says, suppose you want to have $40,000 in 5 years and you can earn 3% interest rate. How much money do you need to invest now, where it'll sit in the bank for 5 years at 3%, to get to $40,000? To answer that, we go to our equation, and our equation is currently set up like this. And usually the future value is the unknown, but now present value is what's unknown. So we want to rearrange the equation a bit. And just using some simple algebra, we can see that we can also write this as like that. And now, to calculate how much money we would need, go at 3%. At 5 years, -5 there, and we're going to get, and the answer we get is 34,504.35. And to review the two equations we've seen it in this form, and we've also seen it in this form.